Hey, how are you doing? Lucy here. I wanted to go over with you this week's module. So I'm in your Canvas homepage. I'm going to click on modules and I'm going to scroll down to module number 2. So we're looking at business ethics and social responsibility. So let's dive into these learning objectives. So if you can click out right here, or you can click right here if this pop-up screen comes. But the learning objectives are, we're going to explain the concern for ethical and societal decisions and issues, describe the contemporary ethical environment, discuss how organizations shape ethical conduct, describe how businesses can act responsibly to satisfy society, and explain the ethical responsibilities of businesses to investors and the financial community. So this module is important because nowadays more and more companies are being placed on a lot more scrutiny about how they are making their product, and also employees in organizations are wanting to have the company that they work for to behave ethically. So, for example, you could have like a chemical plant. Is that chemical plant releasing toxins into the air, that can hurt people? And through the years, we've had chemical plants that did that, and people would get cancer and other diseases out of it. So that's a highly unethical way of doing business. We also have products that fail and they're recalled. So you see this a lot in the automobile industry where some cars, the cruise control has gotten stuck and it's killed people, or the airbags didn't deflate, or they deflated while you were driving the car, or the tires blew out. So these companies, and there's been some investigations going on that the upper level executives of these organizations knew that their product was faulty. And so nowadays, companies are having to adhere to high ethical standards internally with their employees. So are they promoting a safe and diverse workplace? Are they treating employees, are they not discriminating against employees based on like gender, age, ethnicity, or handicap, or family lifestyle, or personal lifestyle, for example? And so ethics is a really big deal in today's society. It's a really big deal. And so we look at also, how do companies have an ethical environment? So how do they shape that? And some of the ways is just by talking about it, having an ethical awareness in the organization and reprimanding people who don't behave ethically, who cheat on the accounting statements, for example, if they work in the accounting department, or if a supervisor is discriminating against someone. So are they reprimanding these people, or are they just sweeping it under the rug, and just letting it keep going and building and creating this kind of toxic environment? So there's ways that you can shape the organization or the company's culture, and that's, having some ethical policies in place in the employee handbook, and then reprimanding people who go against that. And so a couple of ways that companies can even behave and have like good social responsibility efforts is like they can do green initiatives, they can recycle paper or products when available. Some companies are just green companies, like you can go buy their product and it will say this package was made by recycled materials. So you now even have companies that are going out into the market with these big, huge green initiatives, because as consumers, we're expecting that. There's a lot of talk about, the ozone layer and all of that type of stuff. So, in 2018, it's a different world and an environment than it was, say, than in 1985 or 1995. So behaving ethically is important. Everybody in the company needs to. There's kind of like this rule. It's called the front page rule, and it's like, don't do anything that you wouldn't want to be put on the front page of a newspaper tomorrow. That's also important even in the workplace environment. How do you treat your colleagues? How do you perform your job? Are you giving it your all? So, you know, those are some examples of that. Let's look here. You do have a discussion forum and a quiz. These are going to be due by this Sunday, February the 11th. At 11:59 p.m. So you have the entire week to kind of manage your schedule, which I know is busy, and get this done. If you want to get it done earlier, you can. If you want to wait until the weekend, you can as well. So we'll get to that really quickly. I want to show you the different presentations that you have available. You have an audio presentation. Now this is from the 16th edition textbook, the audio presentation is, but there's not a lot of difference between the 16th and the 17th edition. But this PowerPoint presentation is from the 17th edition, and then this Prezi presentation is the presentation that I use in class for the face-to-face class. So you'll see, oftentimes you'll see a lot of real-world examples in the Prezi presentation as well. So give you some of that to enrich your learning. Of course, if you have access to Chapter 2, remember Module 2 coincides with Chapter 2. So if you have access to that, either through the ebook or either the 16th edition or the 17th edition, hard copy or loose leaf text, then definitely be studying your chapter material. It's a very reliable resource. It's not the only resource we use in this class, but it's a very reliable one. Let's see here. These are supplemental resources that I have found for you. And, you know, don't panic. They go right along with your learning objectives. So when I find these different, here's a Harvard Business Review article. It could be different websites, articles, videos. I look at your learning objectives and then I go find these materials based off the learning objectives. So it totally aligns with what this module, what the learning outcomes are. And so let's look here. We're going to do a discussion forum on personal code of ethics. And what I would like for you to do is, and be sure your rubric, be sure you're looking at that. But all discussion forums have the same grading rubric. But you just want to, you want to cite your sources used, even if it's just the textbook or a website or an interview, be sure and cite that. And then you want to also make sure you're getting involved in the discussion. And I get involved in the discussions too. Be sure you're getting involved and at least respond to another classmate's post. That's 25 points of your grade there. So you want to make sure you do that. Okay, so let's look here. What I want you to do is I want you to create your own code of ethics for your behavior in school, at Miami, in your professional or career life. And if you're not working yet, which I know most of you are working or have worked before, so you can apply it to those situations, but you could also apply it to how you envision and how you see yourself as an employee and a performer. So also your professional career and life, and then also in your personal relationships, like this could be with your spouse, with your significant other, with your friends, with your family members, with your pets, with your kids if you have children. So what is your own personal code of ethics? Are these standards, your best self? How do you see your best self? You know, if you could get up every day and say, I want to behave and be the best person I can be with everybody that I run into and you know, touch hands with, so to speak. You know, how is that person behaving? How are you, you know, how are you treating yourself? How are you treating your classmates, your professors? How are you treating your friends and family and the people you work with, your colleagues, your customers, your outside stakeholders, suppliers, and your supervisor? So you want to be thinking about this, and then I also want you to reflect on how well you're meeting these standards. So you can kind of create this code of ethics in all three main areas of your life, of, you know, school, college, personal and professional life. But it's one thing to say it. How are you meeting this? So it takes practice. It takes a mental effort and physical effort every day, emotional effort to say, hey, this is how I want to treat people. And then here I'm just showing you the learning outcome associated with this activity to see where it all aligns and why this assignment has value to it. And then you have a quiz. You have your quiz too. So if you have any questions along the way this week, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can text, call, come see me during office hours, email me. You can even email me through here. I look forward to this week with you. All right, take care. Bye.